Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great and safe day. Keep yourself safe in our modern COVID-19 world. Today I want to finish up the original Dragonriders trilogy with the White Dragon by Anne McCaffrey. This book series by Anne McCaffrey won a Hugo Award and Nebula Award. She's the first female to win Hugo and Nebula Award. So we're going to take a look at the White Dragon, which is a very different book in the series. Basically what winds up happening in the White Dragon, I'll set up the series for you, and then we'll talk a little bit about the synopsis, and then I'll do a quick little review for you, and then I'll go ahead and leave you to it. I suspect most people have read this series, and so it might just be a reminder for you than anything else. And this also set a trend that is still being followed today in today's modern speculative fiction. So we'll also talk quickly about what that trend is. And so let's go ahead and get started with the White Dragon. So this is the third of a series of books that are set on Pern. Pern is a far-flung colony in an astrological universe that's been around for centuries and centuries. Its people were basically like celestial Amish. They believed that there was value in low-tech, working with your hands, building, farming, that sort of thing. And so they found a colony that was out on the outskirts that was ideally suited for this low-tech style of a civilization. Unfortunately, there is a celestial body that orbits this. And every 200 years, it gets close enough, sorry for this lip, every 200 years ago, it gets close enough that this substance that it releases, that the locals call thread, comes down to Earth in this event called threadfall. And it happens about every 200 years ago or so on the cycle. And in order to fight it, it's weak to fire. So they develop weapons that are good against fire. They also have a local lizard-like creature that's very similar to the mythical dragon that you can eat. When it eats a certain rock, it can breathe fire, you can fly it, it will teleport from one place to another, and it can psychically be bonded with a dragonrider and communicate with that person psychically. So it has a few different powers that are useful for fighting thread. So the idea is that these dragonriders will encounter thread as it's falling before it hits the ground, and kills people and livestock and burns buildings and so forth, and they'll burn it and it will be destroyed. So they engage it, and they have an entire structure and infrastructure that's built towards this. In the first book, we realized that the most recent cycle, which took place 200 years before this book, was missed. And so for that reason, it's been such a long time since thread has fallen that the modern people believe that it's just myths and legends, and that thread doesn't actually exist. Or if it did exist, it's long since been fought, and that battle is over with. So when thread does start to fall, we are in a weird place as a group of people, because who knows what we're going to be doing, right? So what we wind up doing is near the end of that novel. One of our dragon riders realizes that when they teleport from one place to another, they can also teleport in time from one time to another. And so they teleport back in time, and they grab a group of dragon riders from an older era after the Threadfall was over with, and bring them back forward in time to the modern day, and they help to fight the modern day of Thread. However, these people have their own different issues, their own cultures, their own personalities. They were treated differently than modern dragon riders are differently. They're much more cocky, arrogant, and so forth. They expect the world to kind of treat them like nobility, even in the modern. So what ends up happening is that a division happens in the second book, in Dragon Quest, between these two, and the central sort of crux between these two is that they're starting to fight. Infighting, they're stealing eggs, they're stabbing each other. There's literal infighting as well as figurative political infighting between these two groups of people, and that will continue in this novel, the third novel of the series, The White Dragon. In The White Dragon, we'll be following Jackson and his character and developments. He is both a High Lord and a member of the nobility, and he's also somebody who is bonded with this runt of this litter, white dragon named Ruth, and so forth. And so he is trying to fight thread, fight developments, learn as a dragon rider, while also dealing with life as a member of the nobility and the noble estates. Normally nobility don't become dragon riders, and so they have two completely separate roles and requirements, and so he has to live this dual life, and so it'll have his sort of coming of age as a dragon rider of the runt Ruth, who has some abilities that other dragons don't have, and will be developed and so forth. And so we'll be following along with Jackson and his story, and as he deals with these two roles, the role of dragon rider and the role of nobility in the world that he is currently living in, and how those two roles typically are going to interact against each other, and so how can he exist in Jackson. So we'll be following this around. Now, Anne McCaffrey wasn't sure what she wanted her third book to be, so there's a big delay from books 1 and book 2 to book 3, because it took her a while. She basically had writer's block, if you will. But this book was so successful that it was a huge best-selling. It topped the best-selling lists. And I mentioned before about how that was influential. That's the main reason why. We have, ever since The White Dragon, we've seen lots of speculative fiction, fantasy, science fiction, and horror novels. Although horror novels were doing it to a lesser degree before this already. But they're going to start topping the bestsellers lists. People like, the Shannara series by Terry Brooks. You'll see the Dritto Erden series by R.A. Salvatore. You'll see lots of these people with their fantasy and their science fiction are going to start to hit the #1 best-selling or top 10 best-selling charts. It's going to become a trend that The White Dragon will, in fact, begin. I do like this the best of the three. I give it an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10 to the first book, Dragonflight, because it was the first book, and I think there's some writing issues that I have with it that I think, it's a first book, it's worth your time. I liked it, but again, I think this was resolved by book 2, and book 2 I gave it 8 out of 10. I also give this an 8 out of 10 too, but I think it's a better 8 out of 10. I like following the character of Jackson. I enjoy learning more about him and his struggles. He's a good, solid protagonist for the novel, and that you're learning a lot about. So there you are. That's The White Dragon. I'll go ahead and leave you there to it. Have you read The White Dragon? What did you think of it? Did you agree or disagree with anything that I stated about it? Would you like to talk about it more in the comments below? I'd be happy to engage you with it further. To do so, did you enjoy this video? Please feel free to hit the subscribe button if you did. There's going to be so many more of these to follow, right? And finally, I just want to take a moment and thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and watching my videos. We all have so many things happening in our lives, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I really do appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day. Bye-bye.